What is up? What's going on, guys? Trizzle here, tuning in, bringing you guys another great 3-star tutorial. Today, we are going to be going over Town Hall 7 DragLoon. That's right, guys. This is probably one of the strongest raids for Town Hall 7. So those of you that have been neglecting those dragons, I don't know what you've been thinking. You've definitely been slacking on your pimping, and you certainly haven't been watching Game of Thrones. So shame on you. But I'm going to go ahead and break down all the tips that you need to be able to 3-star any max base at Town Hall 7. Starting with the army for this composition, guys, you're going to be bringing 8 balloons, 8 dragons, and you're going to bring a max dragon for your clan castle. For your spells, you're going to be bringing just 3 lightning spells. Being that Town Hall 7 does not have a dark spell factory, you're not going to have to worry about any dark spells or requesting any spells. You're just going to bring 3 lightning, nice and easy to remember, nice and simple. Now, as far as the tips for success, guys, you want to make sure that you bring max Town Hall 7 and spells only. You got to get those dragons up to level 2, got to get those loons up to level 4, as well as your lightning. That also needs to be level 4 as well. Now, you always want to scout the base to determine the best side to approach and which air defense to take out with your zap. Now, don't neglect those corner buildings or those corner huts. Always destroy the air defense with your lightning spells at the start of the raid. You don't want to make the mistake of trying to do that on the fly in the middle, because it can definitely mess things up. So you always want to do that at the start of the raid. Now, the main job of your max CC dragon is to help kill the defensive CC troops. Now, you might run into a school of thought where they tell you, hey, bring those balloons in the CC, and max loons, especially 4 of them, they're going to do a lot of damage at Town Hall 7. But one thing that I've seen time after time, especially in war, is when the defensive CC has a max dragon, that comes out and it will literally kill 3, 4, 5 of your level 2 dragons without batting an eye. And it doesn't matter how good you are at Town Hall 7, if the defensive CC dragon comes out and kills 4 or 5 of your dragons, you're not going to 3-star. So that's why it's crucial to bring that max CC dragon to help kill the defensive CC troops. And of course, last tip for success, practice, memorize those raid objectives, and practice some more, guys. I can't preach that enough. Now that we're done with the tips for success, we're going to hop right into the raid objectives, and these are the steps that you want to follow to be able to execute the attack correctly. Now, starting with number 1, identify the best side of the base to attack by using the following guidelines. You always want to avoid attacking directly into the air sweeper. You want to attack the side of the base with the most archer towers. You want to attack into the 2 remaining air defense as soon as possible. And you want to avoid letting the defensive CC flank your army. Step number 2, zap the air defense that is the most difficult to reach. Step number 3, if the base has corner huts or corner buildings, deploy your first 2 dragons on those corner huts. Step number 4, if the base does not have corner buildings or corner huts, place the first 2 dragons on the ends of each side of the base to help start and set up your funnel. Number 5, deploy the remaining dragons spaced somewhat evenly apart in the middle of those corner dragons. You want to make sure that you don't clump them all together. Number 6, deploy your max CC dragon on the side closest to the defensive clan castle. Number 7, deploy your barbarian king to tank for their archer towers and to help set up the funnel. If the base has corner buildings, you can also use the king to help take out one of the huts or those corner buildings. Number 8, you split your loons in half. You want to make sure that you aim each set of loons 4 and 4 at each air defense. Typically when you're scouting the base, you can line this up. The whole purpose of those balloons is to zone in, go in, and take out the air defense. So that's why you want to aim them at each of the remaining 2 air defense when you're attacking. Now that you've gone through those steps, guys, all you got to do is sit back and collect your 3-star. Now, it's very important, don't forget, the timing of releasing your balloons cannot be too rushed. you don't want the defensive CC troops to be able to target your loons before before your troops can take down the air defense without your dragons being able to support. So you want to drop those loons so that as they approach the base, they're not going to be targeted by the defensive CC troops without your dragons being able to support. And that's it, guys. You know, I'm going to go ahead and get right into the actual replays. That way you can see this in action. Like I said, this is extremely strong at Town Hall 7, and this can take out any max base that you'll come across. So starting with this replay, you'll notice that at the start of the raid, I was able to realize that the one air defense was exposed, so I went ahead and took advantage of that, and I used the Barbarian King to get the maximum value for my troops. That way I can use the spells to take out another air defense and just have one less air defense to worry about when I attack with my dragons. So like I said, you're going to want to start by scouting the base. That way you can determine the best side of the base to attack. Once the king took care of the air defense, I went ahead and zapped the one AD that I'd be taking out, and then I deployed my dragons. Starting with the corner dragons, followed by deploying the dragons in the middle, followed by aiming the balloons at the air defense and the CC dragon to target the defensive CC troops. Once that's done, you can pretty much sit back and collect your 3-star because the troops move in a wave across the base. By the time it's all said and done, you know, pretty much the majority of your army will be up. Most of the time the loons won't last, but you'll find that you can actually get almost all of your troops, including the king, to survive most raids. So let's go ahead and take a look at another army, and this of course is against a max Town Hall 7. I determined that the best air defense to take out is the bottom left hand side due to the direction of the air sweeper and the archer towers, and then from there you start your initial dragons to help establish the funnel, and you don't want to clump them together. I see a lot of people do that and they make a big mistake. You want to get a nice even spread. Your CC dragon, try to get as close to their defensive CC, and then balloons need to be aimed at the air defense, and you'll notice the air defense go down like clockwork as the dragons move in a wave across the base, and that's it. You could say goodnight to the bad guy because this base didn't stand a chance, you know, especially with perfect deployment. So king comes around. King ends up, I think, living pretty much to the end of the raid, so shout out to the king on that one. But there you have it. Alright, so let's take a look at one more replay, guys. This again is against Town Hall 7, and I initially start by identifying which air defense I want to take out. It just so happened that this base didn't have a level 5 air defense, so I was able to use 2 lightning on the one, and then I saved the other air defense for up top. I was able to come in from the very northern side of the base. I noticed that even though the air sweeper was pointing directly against my army, I could sprinkle in my Barbarian King to target the air sweeper and then make sure that my army didn't have to fight, you know, the air sweeper as it approaches the air defense. So you'll notice that the king takes out the air sweeper just as the army starts to approach the core of the base, and then from there the air defense, they go down, and then that's it, guys. You just sit back, collect the 3-star. Like I said, this army is so powerful that once you work out how you want to deploy the troops, it's pretty much sit back and watch the 3-stars come. You just have to make sure that you're doing the proper scouting and you're executing the correct deployment, and then from there it's pretty much guaranteed. Alright, so a couple more replays just to kind of show you guys just how repeatable and easy it is to execute. Get another max Town Hall 7, and you're going to start by taking out that air defense with your lightning spell. You're going to zap it into Oblivion, and then you're going to start with your corner dragons to help establish the funnel. So once those corner structures go down, you want to sprinkle in the other dragons, and then from there you bring in the CC dragon on the side that will have the clan castle, or the side that's going to need the extra support. As far as the balloons, you want to aim those for the remaining air defense. I didn't want the balloons to circle the entire base, so I kept them tucked in tight. And then as the dragons approach the core, the CC dragon pops out, The CC Dragon actually was able to take out a little bit of the troops, but due to the fact that the deployment was spot on, the rest of the dragons moved in, helped support the rest of the troops, and down goes the CC Dragon. The king is able to get a ton of value on the outside as it takes out those outside structures, and it keeps the dragon army tucked in and concentrated on the center of the base. So another 3-star, and I think I've got a couple more replays to show you guys, but this is one of those armies that you want to learn early and you want to get it executed often so that when you hit Town Hall 8, you already know what you're doing. But again, you can take out any max Town Hall 7 with this army. Due to the strength of the 3 lightning spells, you can actually take out pretty much any adjacent defenses that are next to the air defense. That way you can get maximum value for your spells and make sure you're taking out as much as possible, being that you're using all 3 spells on the start of the raid to take out the air defense. So once that's done, guys, your deployment and how you execute the funneling of the troops, that's probably the second thing that you maybe have to work on. But once you get that done, it's pretty much, you know, wham bam, thank you ma'am, and it's so easy to 3-star those bases, excuse me, and you'll be able to carry this skill set over to Town Hall 8, because once you get to Town Hall 8, it is very similar, and you'll actually be doing a lot of DragLoon raids, and it's the same process. So again, zap that first air defense into oblivion. You want to attack the base so that you're attacking as many archer towers as possible without attacking directly into the air sweeper. You start with those corner dragons to help establish the funnel, and then you release the other dragons spaced fairly evenly in the middle. You want to drop your dragon CC as close to their defensive CC as possible. Aim your balloons to the remaining 2 air defense after you drop your line of dragons, and do the timing so that the balloons don't get too far ahead of your army. So once that's done, guys, you'll notice that nothing really stands a chance, because if you have your Barbarian King come in at the perfect angle, whether it be to tank for the archer towers, help create that funnel, or take out those random outside structures, you'll notice that, again, by the end of the raid, the most of the time you have every single one of your dragons up. The only thing that usually goes down is the balloons, and sometimes the Barbarian King. So you'll notice that it's 3-star after 3-star after 3-star. In putting together some of the gameplay so that I could show you guys how to execute this raid, I was making sure I was attacking those max bases, and even on good design bases, it really, you know, comes to the proper execution, and sometimes you have to tweak those rules. This is a well-designed base, and if you attack it the way that you normally would, you'll end up having to attack into the air sweeper. So I kind of bend the rules a little bit and come in catty corner. I come in at an angle where I wouldn't normally attack the air defense as soon as possible, but through thick and thin, through the strength of the raid and just proper execution, it does not matter. Now this one ended up being a close call because the air defense, you know, had to be, you know, addressed near the end of the raid. So the dragons really had to go to work and make sure they took out basically everything else before they could get to the air defense. But it still didn't matter, because there's so much strength on the front end of the raid that if you execute it correctly, you can get those close calls, and you can typically take out good bases that would normally give you a hard time, or in war, you know, may end up needing to be hit with a bully attack. So I just wanted to show you guys that this is a raid that is extremely flexible, it's extremely clutch, and most importantly, it's extremely OP. I guarantee that if you can get this into your, your foundation, make sure that you memorize the attack and make sure that this becomes second nature, you're going to be that much better at Town Hall 8, just due to the fact that once you get to Town Hall 8, you can now bring 2 lightning spells and 1 rage, and that rage spell is all the difference in the world to be able to take out any max Town Hall 8 as well. So stay tuned for that, guys. I am going to be making a Town Hall 8 2019 version of DragLoon, something that's up to date. The video that's currently on the channel now actually has a 2017 meta where you had to bring an earthquake, but things have changed quite a bit since then, and you can now bring max freeze spells, which is typically the way you want to go. But without running my mouth too much about Town Hall 8, as you guys can see, Town Hall 7 DragLoon is where it's at, extremely strong. So make sure you guys get out there, get those dragons up to level 2, get that lightning spell up to level 4, get those loons up to level 4, and then go to work. If you guys have any questions, make sure you check out the video description down below where I type out the raid objectives for you. And that way, if you ever need to refer back to the video, you don't always have to sit and watch the entire video through. Now, I'm not telling you not to do that, but I also know putting it in the description goes a long way in helping you guys out. So I really appreciate you guys watching the video all the way through to the end. As always, your boy Trizzle's got you locked and loaded with the highest level Clash of Clans content in the game. Thanks for watching. Trizzle tuning out.